and welcome from a very cold Melbourne. 5 degrees this morning. As you well know, we are now in the post-Easter season. On Sunday we celebrated the great feast of Pentecost, the gift of the Holy Spirit and the launching of the church. And I go back to Pope Leo's inauguration Mass. And one of the phrases in his homily that struck me was, he either hopes or he prays or he desires that the church be a leaven in the midst of a reconciled world. And it seems to plug into today's reading, because we're now with Matthew and the first early parts of Matthew's Gospel, where he goes with the Sermon on the Mount and he starts with the Beatitudes. Those beautiful, happy are you, blessed are you, etc. And then he launches into two symbols directed straight at the disciples. And he says to the disciples, you are salt for the earth. You are light for the world. And it's rather strange, but he calls his disciples salt. And as we know, salt savours things. We use salt. Some of us use it a bit too much, and others need to use it anyhow. But salt savours, and it savours food. It makes food better. It gives it savour. And likewise, light. You are light for the world. Light illuminates. Light overcomes the darkness that surrounds. And light illuminates things that are all around us we wouldn't otherwise have seen or appreciated. And Jesus says, you are salt for the earth and you are light for the world. And it's interesting because these two things, you don't focus on the salt. You focus on what the salt does. You focus on how it savours the food. And likewise, you are the light of the world. You don't focus on the light. When you switch on the light, you look at what the light illuminates. And Jesus says, you are that salt and you are that light, because you are my disciples. And insofar as you are my disciples, you are that salt and that light. And to me, a subtle little thing that Matthew has put in there, he doesn't say you should be, or you ought to be, or it's a requirement of you to be salt and light. No, but being my disciples you are. And it's a rather change from law and expectation. You simply are. And I just think of ourselves as disciples of Jesus, trying to live as his disciples. We are for those amongst whom we live and with whom we share life. We are salt. We give something of life, something of joy, something of the truth, something of purpose to those around us. And likewise, we are light. We can illuminate that which is hidden, that which is obscure. And there are so many things on the telly, in the papers, etc., that are dark and that hide the truth. So what I pray for you and for me is that we might be able to live as disciples and so realize Jesus' expectation, dream, hope, that we simply are salt for our world and light for our world. That we are sources of joy and truth and for eternity simply by being disciples of Jesus. Okay? So that's a little challenge for the week. Are we disciples of Jesus? Because if we are salt for the earth and we are light for the world. Okay? God bless you and have a great week.